Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was fallen emperor of Outworld Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto was tied to a pole, chakra draining rope, suppression cuffs, spiked chains covering his exposed bleeding torso, and one wrapped around his neck to make him look up at the woman he brought back to be Hokage. She of course was glaring at him and he in turn glared back with hatred at her betrayal. After he brought back the rogue Uchiha, Naruto found himself restrained, sent to the prison cells below the Hokage Tower, where T and I were ordered by the Hokage herself to get answers out of him about what happened by any means necessary so long as it didn't break the seal holding Kyuubi. And so they did. They were led by Morino Ibiki and Mitarashi Anko. Neither of them or their subordinates seemed to care about their target's health. Why would they? It would be counterproductive to their jobs. At first, Naruto told them what happened at the Valley of Hien with Sasuke when they fought before anything even happened. Simple, right? Wrong. Naruto barely got the words out, but within seconds of telling them what had happened, he was attacked by them, demanding the truth, and again Naruto told them word for word what happened. Hoping they would see reason. But they didn't. They did not stop in their methods. Again, he told them the truth, but by the fourth time telling it in the hopes of making the abuse stop failed, Naruto knew it wouldn't like he'd hoped, and it only just increased. They called him a lair, a demon in human skin, a monster that did not know how to speak the truth, and they all tried very hard to beat the real truth out of Naruto. However, despite all of this, Naruto's story never changed, and it only made them hurt him more with each passing second. When they realized Naruto wouldn't change his story no matter what, they surprisingly stopped their assault, but brought in Tsunade and Jiraiya to have a few choice words with him. It was on this day, Naruto was told his entire life, as crappy as it was growing up, and just about everything else he had been made to believe was true was in fact a lie. The Sandaime Hokage was not dead like everyone first believed. Like Naruto had been led to believe. His death was faked. Orochimaru's attempt to kill him. Staged. All of it. The Sandaime Hokage was alive, in a new much younger body, and feeling better than ever thanks to his former student Orochimaru of all people providing it for him. His two godparents revealing that to him too, told Naruto about the plan to baptize Konoha in fire, blood, and war. One that would make the next generation of shinobi ready for the future for an even bigger war that was foreseen by the Toads and the higher-ups were planning to use to make the Leaf the dominate shinobi village if not the only shinobi village left in the elemental countries. At the same time, Jiraiya and Tsunade revealed that Naruto's childhood all been done by the Sandaime Hokage's skillful design by filling it with abuse, pain, suffering, and anguish. It was done to cement the boy's loyalty to the village while keeping him too weak to fight back when the time came to subdue should he get too unruly for their tastes. The mere fact Naruto beat Sasuke, who had far more shinobi training than the other members of the rookies of his graduating class, spoke volumes to them. The sheer fact that Kakashi only taught Sasuke the entire time, further proved to the higher-ups that Uzumaki Naruto had gotten too strong for their liking. That if left unchecked or allowed to grow further would make the Jinchuriki a threat to the village should he ever learn the truth about his heritage they deliberately kept from him. So they decided for the good of the village as a whole and their overall plans in general from being put in further jeopardy, to cut their losses. And by cut their losses, they meant cut Naruto out of their lives completely by killing him before anyone outside of Konoha knew what was really going on. But surprisingly that wasn't even the worst news Naruto got that day. The Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato himself, his own father was alive. And not just him either. His wife Uzumaki Kushina and their daughter named Uzumaki Naruko were alive as well. The night of the Kyuubi's attack resulted in Minato sealing half of the fox inside himself and the other in Naruto. But what no one, but those in the most highest positions in Konoha knew, was that a plan had been created based on Jiraiya's, child of prophecy, to ensure Konoha was unchallenged by the world. The plan was simple. The plan was to have Minato, Kushina, and Naruto go into hiding. The Sandaime would be reinstated back as Hokage of Konoha until the time was right to come out of hiding. The plan was for Orochimaru to help provide a body for the slowly growing old man to transfer his soul into it and extend his life through new body. Naruto would be trained by both her parents to one day return and take up her birthright as both a Namikaze and an Uzumaki. As for Naruto, the plan involved meant he got the short end of the stick. Why? Because neither Minato nor Kushina wanted him. Kushina had wanted a girl from the start. She didn't want a son. A son meant raising a possible pervert of a boy. She did not want that and didn't want to deal with some whiny boy for a child. But a girl like her daughter would be easy, as she could bond with Naruto, laugh with her daughter, and have all sorts of fun together since they would have the same personalities. Why should she bother wasting her time in bonding with a boy that could be like Minato? Why should she bother raising a son, who would never be able to understand her when growing up? Too much work. It was better to just leave the brat in the village for them to get their kicks out of hurting the boy and make him into the weapon they planned from the start. As for Minato, he also wanted a daughter over a son because, like Kushina, he didn't care for having a male progeny, and wanted a daughter to spoil silly. The former Yondaime Hokage had also feared that if Naruto had Kushina's personality, the boy would take up too much of Minato's time. The man didn't want to deal with the brat, as his time could be spent elsewhere doing more constructive things, and not on the boy himself. Besides, Minato needed time to master his newfound powers, and wasn't about to risk the possibility of the both halves of the Kyuubi somehow getting back together again by accident. When they were informed by Jiraiya of what Naruto had done at the Valley of the End, being that weakest leaf shinobi of his generation beating the supposed best, the family came back, and were now among those ready to see the Kyuubi Jinchuriki die via public execution. So this is how it is going to end for me, huh? Everything I did for you, this village, and those pricks here now crying out for my blood openly, was all based on a lie? Asked Naruto while Tsunade just glared at him. You are a tool, Naruto. A tool that has become too knowledgeable and too powerful. We won't allow you to get strong enough to take your revenge on us. Not now anyway, with the truth revealed to you, replied Tsunade while Naruto growled at her. Look at it this way, brat. You dying helps us out in the long run, remarked Jiraiya with a smirk on his face. And how do you figure that, you perverted old shit? Asked Naruto before his face was grabbed hard by Jiraiya and they were looking the other right in the eyes. Because when you die, Kyuubi will materialize in 9 years, and we can reseal it up easily into Naruto. With both father and daughter being Jinchuriki with the seal, we can do some serious damage to Konoha's enemies, and bring this world under heel with the power of our child of prophecy. The real child of prophecy. Not some weak shit like you. Answered Jiraiya before Naruto bit his hand hard and drew blood. If I'm so weak, then I shouldn't have been able to make you bleed, countered Naruto before he was punched in the face by Jiraiya. Enough, Jiraiya. For harming the last Uchiha of Konoha with your demonic powers, by the power invested in me as the Gondaime Hokage Senju Tsunade hereby sentence you Uzumaki Naruto to death, declared Tsunade before Minato stepped forward, playing to the crowd, chanting his name, his family beaming with pride, and supporting the man every step of the way. Anything to say before I put an end to you, son? One final thing to say to your father before the end? Asked Minato mockingly while looking down at his son, who looked up at him with furious and cold blue eyes. Yeah, I do actually. Fuck you, your so-called family, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and the old fuck monkey Sarutobi standing beside them. I make you a promise on my own blood as an Uzumaki. A promise that I will not let death stop me from having my revenge. I will come back here to this village somehow, someway, and when I do, You are all going to die, and there is not a soul in this world or any other that can stand in my way," exclaimed Naruto, as his eyes became red, and glowed with rage burning behind them. It was in that moment, time slowed down for the blonde, and he found himself standing in his mindscape before the fox himself. "I can help you fulfill that promise, young one," offered Kyuubi with Naruto looking at him skeptically. "And why exactly should I receive help from you of all beings?" asked Naruto with the fox looking deadly serious. "Because like it or not, boy, I'm your only chance of even having a shot at burning this village to the ground and everyone in it that has sided with your so-called family now waiting to see you die," replied Kyuubi with Naruto narrowing his eyes at him. "Bullshit. You just want to get your own revenge using me," exclaimed Naruto with the fox looking furious. "Even if that were remotely true, does it really matter how you get revenge so long as you get it? We both get our revenge at the same time. You think my other half likes being sealed away in the Yondaime? I can sense him wanting to get out, but the fool's seal makes it impossible. Imagine what they will do once I materialize in 9 years after you die. I'll be sealed up again into your so-called sister and used like a weapon for their war machine. I will not be used in such a manner," declared Kyuubi with Naruto nodding since he could see the fox's point of view. "Okay. I'll help you get your revenge, if only so I can get mine. There is just one problem though. How do we escape from Konoha? I'm currently tied down with just about every seal there is that prevent you from giving me power to break free, and just about everyone capable of suppressing you further has my body surrounded. Not much of an escape if I can't even get free from my bonds," stated Naruto with Kyuubi nodding. "Which is why we will be calling on a higher power to set us free." "The power of the Elder Gods," answered Kyuubi before looking to his right, and Naruto followed his gaze to a seal design that the boy didn't see before today. "Elder Gods? How?" asked Naruto while feeling the need to go to the strange seal with what looked like dragons surrounding it. "Put your chakra into that seal and call upon the Elder Gods to honor their agreement when they helped the Yondaime make this damn seal holding me back. Normally, to call upon any god for a sealing like mine requires a contract, or pact be made on the grounds the intentions for the sealing were noble. This seal before you is a failsafe to use in alerting them that the contract has been violated. Call upon them to take you from this realm to another. But be warned. The realm you go to by their hands will be random to the point where not even they will know where you end up. For all we know, the realm in question could actually be hell itself. Not that it would be so bad for me, but for you, not so good," said Kyuubi with Naruto glaring at him. "Oh great. Thanks for warning me and scaring the shit out of me at the same time," said Naruto before putting his hands on the seal and channeled chakra into the seal. "Repeat after me everything I say. Make sure it's spoken outside your mind or else the Elder Gods will not hear. Hurry. Your bastard father is about to deliver the killing strike," said Kyuubi before telling Naruto what to say. When Naruto's vision refocused on the outside world, he saw Minato's sword held high over his head, and about to be brought down onto the boy's head. However, before he could succeed, Naruto's hands shot to the ground, channeling what he could of Kyuubi's chakra into his throat, and his own went to his fingertips. Within seconds, a seal neither Minato, Jiraiya, or Kushina had ever seen in all his years materialized around his son. "Elder Gods, hear me. The contract you made with the mortal to seal up the Kyuubi inside me on the grounds of noble intentions has been violated. I call upon you now to honor your part of the contract, to use your power to save this vessel from a death he does not deserve," exclaimed Naruto to the heavens before the seal below him began to glow even brighter. "What is that? Stop him," ordered Hiruzen with the seal consuming Naruto in an ominous light that shot toward the sky while dark clouds formed above with lightning striking in various places. "Use your most powerful fire jutsus. Kill the monster before he escapes," commanded an angry Tsunade, as she along with every other shinobi went through hand signs for a fire jutsu, and launched it at Naruto. Naruto held back from screaming out in pain, as the fire ripped into his body, and feeling his flesh tear from being pulled away from the post he was tied down on. The sky above where a portal to another realm awaited him was creating a vacuum of sorts, sucking the boy in along with the large mass of fire that burned his hair clean off. When the portal finally closed, the sky cleared, and it was all over. Naruto was gone. He was free, at last. But the promise of his return remained, echoing through everyone's minds, and it was soon apparent to those responsible for the betrayal that the boy might actually succeed in getting his revenge. Naruto-kun, I'm sorry I couldn't help you like I wanted from the start. But I am glad you are free, thought one person, the only person possibly in Konoha watching everything, and had tear-stained eyes at seeing her crush about to die. The girl's tears of sorrow became one of joy at seeing him escape his intended fate. And in that moment, Hyuga Hinata was inspired to fight to break her own intended fate within her clan. She would fight to get stronger and wasn't going to let anyone stop her from making it happen. Outworld: the Living Forest. A small group of Tarkatan demons were patrolling the living forest per the orders of their Emperor Onaga, the Dragon King. He had sensed a rift in the realms and something had entered in domain uninvited in this part of his empire. I smell it. Whatever entered Outworld is near here, said one Tarkatan while searching for their prey. A groan was soon heard by the Tarkatans and they made their way over to the small lump of burned cut-up flesh that was on the ground before them. It was oozing demonic energy, but it was clear to them that this creature, whatever it was, or had been in life, was near the end of its cycle. What is it? A demon from the Netherrealm? Asked a second Tarkatan while looking the creature over. An Oni maybe. His lack of skin resembles one of their kind, remarked another Tarkatan while giving the body a kick, and a groan was heard seconds later. We will take it before the Dragon King. Our master shall be the one to ultimately decide the creature's fate, said the third of the group before they picked the downed creature up and dragged it to the Emperor's palace. Dragon King's palace. Why have you brought me this thing? Demanded Onaga, as he saw the creature his group of warriors had brought him, and was not impressed. He was the creature you sensed had entered Outward, my emperor. We brought him here for you to decide what his fate would be upon entering your domain, replied the leader of the group of Tarkatans. Onaga said nothing at the moment, as he rose from his throne, a massive creature if there ever was one, and walked with thunderous steps toward the creature. Staring down at it, Onaga noticed the flesh was slowly healing, and sensed the demonic power within this thing was the source of it. Using his own power, Onaga levitated the creature so it was staring eye level with him, and it was clear this thing was barely conscious. Who are you? Tell me your name. Speak. Demanded Onaga with the creature trying to breath much less speak. I don't know, replied the weak creature. That's not good enough. How did you enter Outworld? What realm are you from? Demanded Onaga while tightening his hold on the thing. I don't know. All I remember is the pain from torture, suffering at the hands of others, and then, escaping betrayal. Escaping a death I did not deserve, gasped the creature in the Dragon King's grip. Onaga narrowed his eyes at the creature, sensing no life from it, but smelled something from the creature, and it didn't sit well with him. When he recognized it, Onaga's eyes widened, and he slammed the thing to the ground. You have the stench of the elder gods on you, proclaimed Onaga angrily before he raised his leg to crush the creature in front of him. I don't remember anything about that. I don't even remember my own name, gasped the creature while Onaga paused in movement to crush the creature beneath his reptilian feet. Really? Now that's very interesting. Perhaps I was hasty in moving to end your life so soon, remarked Onaga while pondering what to do with this thing and walked in a circle around it. I want to live. Let me live, said the figure while getting to its knees and hearing the loud thunderous footsteps of Onaga with the Dragon King circling him. I will let you live. But there is a price to pay for your continued existence and in my realm, replied Onaga with the creature nodding. I will pay it. Whatever it is you ask of me. I will pay it, replied the figure with his eyes shifting between blue and red to the Dragon King's shock. You will pledge your loyalty to me. You will serve me and my army here in Outworld. You will fight. You kill. You will conquer, declared Onaga while his various shadow priests entered the throne room. I will serve. I will use all my power, my strength, and skills you give me to fight for the glory of Outworld, exclaimed the figure while trying to stand. Good. Now to ensure that you can fulfill your pledge. As you are now, your body is weak. Too frail to be useful to me as you are in your current form. We need to change that, remarked Onaga before calling upon his power while the shadow priests did the same. The little creature, human from what Onaga recognized after some of the wounds the boy was showing from earlier had healed, was now covered in dark magic, and levitating in midair before them. Soon, all the shadow priests in the room, and Onaga began chanting in ancient mystical tongue. The human child covered in their dark magic started to jerk left and right, fighting back the pain he was feeling, and the changes his body was going through at the moment. The boy could feel his muscles expanding, tearing, ripping, the body shredding itself inside, and it soon became too much for the strange child to handle. All he could do was scream out in pain. Soon, the scream of a child became the scream of a man, and the figure behind the magic fell to the ground when ritual performed on him faded. The boy now turned man breathed heavily. His body was, not an ounce of body hair, or fat was on him. Eyes that had once moved from blue to red were now permanently red and glowing with power. The figure struggled to stand at first before stabilizing himself and looking at his new form. While the figure found himself considerably taller than before, the overall height and mass of the Dragon King was much bigger. Not only that, but the reborn warrior now found his mind was sharper, more focused, and began to remember things from his past. Images of people he knew, his interactions with them, scenes of his childhood coming in clearer with each passing second, and most of them were unpleasant to say the least. He also remembered her. The one girl who caught his interest with her inner strength and passion. A diamond in the rough. She was shy at first from what he remembered of her, especially when around him, but then an image appeared in his mind of a battle, a fight between someone of her blood, and how this girl kept fighting. The girl showed a warrior's spirit when she kept on fighting, even when she knew she couldn't win. Despite the fact this opponent was stronger than her, had hit harder than her, and intended to kill her. This girl stood her ground, ready to face death at the hands of her own blood, and the memory showed she had looked at him at one point with a smile on her face. And then the memories of others around him appeared. Only they were not so friendly like the girl had been. Pain from those memories surfaced. It involved training of some kind, but from what the man gathered, it involved his team of kids his age using him as a punching bag, and those from other teams along with their teachers. The laughter, the mockery, the humiliation at being beaten with so little training while the teachers mocked him for it when they deliberately denied him the training to get stronger. I will have my revenge on them. All of them, down to the last backstabbing traitor living in it. I will one day return to that realm, wherever it may be, and crush them. Thought the figure angrily. Clothe him, ordered Onaga with the shadow priests coming forward before providing the tall figure with clothing and armor. Thank you, my emperor. I will make use of this new life you have given me with great zeal, replied the figure after he was properly dressed before a shadow priest presented him with an ancient-looking spiked, samurai helmet guise carved out of bone, and another presented him with a large hammer with the symbol of a dragon at the end. I know you will. Your old life is no more. Your purpose is to serve me and you will need a name befitting it. From this day forward, I Onaga, Dragon King, and Emperor of Outworld hereby bestow on you the name Shao Kahn, declared Onaga with the newly named Shao Kahn bowing humbly before his master before putting the helmet on his head. Shao Kahn. Yes, I am Shao Kahn, the conqueror of the realms. exclaimed Shao Kahn proudly, and made it his mission in life to take each realm one by one until he found the one realm he was looking for that was once his home, before burning everything in it down the ground around him. He did have a revenge-driven promise to keep after all. For many years, centuries going into a single millennia to be exact, I served Onaga as a faithful warrior, and moved myself up the ranks of his army swiftly. First, I was just one of his many soldiers, then a commander, a general, and finally, chief advisor. I worked hard in everything I did under his command, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to find the realm from which I was truly born in, from which I was hated by those residing in it, and by those fools no doubt celebrating what they had done. No doubt they believed what they saw was my demise and my promise no longer at the forefront of their minds or fears. Even their descendants most likely had no idea of my existence, my name being stained by those that wrote it, and mocking me for ages to come. It only drove me further. As one realm after another fell by my hands, I grew stronger in the process, and in time I realized that no matter how hard I tried, I may never find what I wanted. Especially when I noticed how Onaga was dragging his feet all for the sake of finding a means of achieving eternal life. Bah, eternal life, who needs it? It's a crutch for cowards. I have been in so many life or death situations, I have no reason to seek out such a thing as eternal life. By the time my frustration had reached its zenith, it was at that point the idea to remove Onaga as Emperor of Outworld began to form within my mind, and a plan to kill him soon emerged. First, I had to weaken him to the point where I could kill him, and assert my authority to take control of the realm from those who would try to take it from me afterward. I wasn't a fool when it came to measure my power against Onaga. The Dragon King was stronger than I, and by a good margin too. To face Onaga head-on would be foolish, suicidal, and I am neither in regards to my chances in fighting him. So I planned it out. I had to weaken him, poison him using his favorite drink, using an agent loyal only to me, and handled the goblet Onaga drank from. The poison itself was tasteless, even to the Dragon King's own tongue, and by the time he realized something was amiss with his weakened condition, I struck him multiple times in the head. Violently. The irony of it was I used the Wrath Hammer, the very same Wrath Hammer that he gave me when I first came into his service. When it was over, I sat upon a throne. I had become the new Emperor of Outworld, and I crushed all who opposed my rule. I gathered the strongest warriors of Outworld to serve under me and appointed their leaders as my most trusted generals. Prince Guro from the Shokan race had been made one of my highest-ranked generals and provided me with the loyalty of their race as a whole. I had them compete with the Centaurians for the right for it and keep the skills of both sides sharp through competition. The Tarkatans came next, as they showed promise with some of their brood, with Baraka eventually becoming the general representing his race. Another trusted warrior was Reptile, but unlike the others who represented entire races, this creature did not, for he was believed to be the last, and was without a real purpose. Feeling a sense of something from a memory long ago from another life, I gave him one, and brought the creature under my command. Many times, I had sent Reptile on scouting missions to find my realm, and on several occasions I thought he had succeeded. Only to learn each realm he found was not the one I was once from, and I could sense what I was looking for since I became Shao Kahn was still eluding me. I grew increasingly frustrated by my failure to finding the realm I was looking for after so long. I became increasingly impatient and, above all else, increasingly aggressive. It slowed down, however, after I conquered the realm known as Edenia. It was a beautiful world, filled with life, and the resources of this realm made me want it all to be mine. Naturally, I was opposed by the king and queen of the Edenia despite my right to take the realm after winning 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments. They fought me for the right to Edenia. I won in the end, and took the spoils that came from the war. First, the realm itself was made mine. Second was the Queen Sindel, who I married, and made my queen while adopting Katana as my daughter. Sindel was a beautiful and strong woman, one of the reasons I made her my queen. The other reason was because a part of me believed that another girl from the past would have grown up to be just like the Edenian queen, and Katana would have been the daughter we would have had together. But in the years following my ascension to becoming Emperor of Outworld had made me paranoid. The memories of those who betrayed me would sometimes rise to the surface of my mind, and Sindel's suicide years later strengthened it. All he had left was Katana, who I had raised as my own daughter, and trained to be my personal bodyguard at the same time. But even with that fact and knowing Katana was too young to truly remember her real father, I had suspected it was only a matter of time. Hence why I commissioned my personal sorcerer Shang Tsung to make preparations to make me a daughter using sorcery and Katana's blood mixed with Tarkatan. He along with the shadow priests assigned to the project succeeded and soon Mylenia was born. And aside from Melina's facial appearance being different along her mouth, she was an exact physical copy of Katana with only the color in their choice of clothing being able to tell the two women apart at a distance. Now I had twin sisters for daughters I could now call my own, but by the time this happened, Katana was starting to shift away from me, and the betrayal that was sure to follow once more made my blood boil. It reminded me of how that place had betrayed me, the people there betrayed me, and it meant time was turning against me on when the girl I raised as my own would stab me in the back. Hence why I had insurance in having Melina secretly assigned to watch Katana for when the inevitable happened in order to dispose of her. And the inevitable did happen. By that time, I had directed my attention toward Earth Realm, on the advice of a sorcerer named Quan Kai, who came to form a secret alliance with me at the behest of the fallen elder god Shinnok. I agreed, in the belief it would give me the edge needed to take Earth Realm, and call on the fallen elder god to combat the thunder god Raiden himself when I made the crossover to my newest conquest. I was mistaken. I had fought the warriors of Earth Realm and lost due to my own arrogance. Katana had betrayed me like I had foreseen, but Melina had failed to stop her, and I had lost one daughter at the hands of the other. It was by that point, I had to retreat, my losses grew, and my strength declined. After I made my return to Outworld, I realized at this point that my weakened condition, my defeat at the hands of Earthrealm's warriors, and my overall failure in conquering Earthrealm was from me having grown stagnant. I had only been in a few battles since I had taken the throne, some of my muscles had become a bit flabby, my enemies had grown too strong, and my forces too incompetent along with too ambitious to fight them properly. Shiva had killed Motaro. Kano had allied with Shiva to betray her to me in exchange for my sparing of his life. Guro was now gone, Kentaro was dead, and I just had killed Shiva after she entered my throne room to kill me. As for Shinnok, he along with Quan Kai were now waging their own war with Raiden, and his Earthrealm's warriors who survived my battle. Sindel and Katana now had Edenia back after they pried it from my control and weakening me further. It was only a matter of time before my enemies successfully overpowered what loyal troops I had left and came for me. I had Shang Tsung on my side, but I had punished him after his failure in taking Earth Realm, and his loyalty was always in question when it came to serving me. The sorcerer always was an ambitious little snake. Part of my mind whispered that he was just like another pair of snake from a past long ago. So I had devised a plan. A plan to turn the tables and become more powerful than ever. I needed to get back into the fight. To turn the flab I had gained from sitting on the throne and barely fighting back into solid muscle once more. So I used almost all of my power to make a solid clone and flee from my position knowing I couldn't stay. Soon after, I heard whispers of my clone dying at both the hands of Shang Tsung and Quan Kai under false pretenses of an alliance. From what I heard, they came to my clone to offer the services of their powers to help my troops combat Edenia's army now allied with the Shogun to kill me. As I made my way through the terrain of Outworld, I saw the sight of a badly injured Guro, who lay dying at my feet, and would have surely perished had I not saved him with the last of the power I still had. Guro may have sided with the realm of Edenia, but I still respected him for his years of loyal service, and offered him it when he regained consciousness. That and to prove his race was superior to the Centaurians also helped provide the needed incentive to side with me. So we fled, fooling the Edenian warriors that Guro had been killed, and we escaped together to plan for my return to the seat of power. Though I soon learned it would become a challenge once more, as Onaga had returned from beyond the grave, more powerful than ever, and had killed the two sorcerers. I should know they died because Shang Tsung appeared before me in a crude body due to a pledge he made years ago to my person that would not allow him to die so long as I was alive. The three of us prepared ourselves, Guro rallying what troops he could to fight for me, and Shang Tsung going to a village he knew of in order to absorb the souls there to regain his lost strength while restoring his mutated body into what it had been prior to his death. And together, the three of us had succeeded in that regard. We fought our enemies all over Outworld, we grew stronger once more, the fire I had when I first became Shao Kahn had returned. The fire to fight my own battles personally that I had lost was back, and reminding me of my skills as a warrior. What I truly was in life. A conqueror of realms. By this point, Raiden's forces had failed to defeat the Dragon King, but were able to divert his attention, and weaken his position to the point where I could take the throne from him. We fought once more, but unlike the first time where I had poison and surprise on my side. I had Guro helping me in the fight to kill the former emperor once more with his soul going to the Netherrealm. After Onaga had been dealt with, I went to deal with the Edenian forces fighting Onagas, and now my troops once more. When I smashed into the throne room, I saw Katana there being protected by her sages, ready to defend their princess with their lives, and fight to the bitter end for her. They should have known better than to trust Katana because the woman they were now protecting was not Katana at all, but in fact it was Melina. My daughter. My heir to the throne of Outworld should I die. But I wasn't dead. Not yet anyway. She had been impersonating Katana for some time, using her twin's forces to fight for the throne of Outworld, and become its new ruler. It made me proud inside at having such an ambitious daughter, but that alone was not about to let me stay my hand in knocking the woman aside to take what was mine. Not that I needed to, as Melina personally killed the sages protecting her, and stepped aside to let me sit on the throne of Outworld once more so she could serve me. I was pleased and yet disgusted at the same time. Not by Melina, but by the revelation I had regarding how my sitting on the throne of Outworld was what weakened me in the first place. Had essentially weakened Onaga in the belief he could not be challenged and focus on achieving eternal life and ignore the delight of fighting to expand his realm. It was there, in that moment, I made another promise to never let the throne weaken me, and cause my downfall. That I would fight like all my troops on the battlefield and no one stop me from getting stronger until not even the elder gods themselves could stand in my way. Speaking of elder gods, Shinnok had somehow saved Quan Kai and came to visit me once again about a pyramid hidden in Outworld, made by one of the elder gods named Argus. Hence why it was named the Pyramid of Argus, where it was said the power, rank, and abilities of an elder god were locked away. A power that only a warrior of great strength and skill could achieve the right to become an elder god. To become one of the very toothless worms I had come to despise with their rules and regulations on how realms should be taken by means of mortal combat. Still, to become an elder god was promising, as I could not only become more powerful, possibly become the strongest of the elder gods, but to find my home realm, and crush it like I had promised myself long ago. While those that betrayed me were long dead, it was only fair in my mind that their descendants pay the price, and I kill every one of them while the souls of the betrayers they are born from curse me in death. So after much thought, I accepted the alliance made between myself and Shinnok once again. However, I made a small reminder in my head to kill Shinnok once I became an elder god, and all of his followers joining him in death's cruel embrace. But there was a small catch it seemed, as I would not be the only one partnering up with Shinnok, as I would be forced to ally with Onaga, who the fallen elder god brought back, but weaker now than when he first returned to claim his throne, and he no longer held such a gap in terms of power over me. What was even more surprising was Raiden had been corrupted since his initial attempt to kill the Dragon King and offered all of us in the alliance a deal. He would let the one who won have all the realms from the realm of chaos to the realm of order, Adenia, the Netherrealm, and any other we wanted with the exception of Earth Realm. Naturally we had accepted the deal, for we knew that no matter what, Raiden along with all the other elder gods would have to honor it. Raiden himself had become an elder god after his victory over Shinnok, and still spoke for them despite his corrupted state. Therefore none of the elder gods could break it, and the realm taken after taking the power at the Pyramid of Argus would not be in violation of mortal combat. The end result, after the fighting that would take place at the Pyramid of Argus, mortal combat would no longer hold sway over me. I would relish that day forever. Add to the fact I would be fighting in the heat of battle once more only strengthened my bloodlust further. Raiden's Earth Realm warriors had no idea of the deal he made with us, and yet he led them onto the field of battle on a united front against our side. My side. We all knew what was at stake. Both sides charged onto the battlefield, knowing that whoever came out the victor would hold the fate of the realms in the palm of their hands. To bring peace to the realms, or to bring about Armageddon. During the battle, the Pyramid of Argus appeared, rising up from the ground, and making itself known to us all at last. It drew us to the top of the pyramid-shaped structure where a bonfire-like flame stood, swirling, calling out to me, and me alone while saying, "This is your chance. Take it." Inside my mind, I fought my way there. To the top. Knock back one combatant after another with my wrath hammer. None could oppose me. I may not have been the fastest to race up the pyramid, but I was the strongest, and I could knock the more nimble warriors away. It was only after Shang Tsung broke the alliance did get farther than any of the others, but I forgot about Onaga, and his hidden thirst for revenge. The Dragon King appeared in front of me after I received a kick from the sorcerer and was carried away by my predecessor to be tormented by him. However, it seemed luck was once again on my side as it had been ages ago, for Onaga was attacked by something from behind, and it must have been something powerful due to how it seemed to injure him. I saw the opportunity to strike him hard. It was enough to throw him off course and crash into a nearby mountainside before crashing to the ground below. Fortunately, Onaga took most of the collision into the mountain, and when we fell so my injuries were minor. Not that I cared about being hurt, as the pain helped make me feel alive, and the Pyramid of Argus was still calling to me while hearing the roar of the Guardian Blade defending the power I so desired. But first, I had to deal with Onaga, and ensure he never got in my way again. The Dragon King was dizzy when he tried to stand with all his injuries from the surprise attack to mine, and those leading to the fall had weakened him. He never saw the hit to his skull with my fists or the other blows I landed on him without mercy. I had known by that point, the only sure way to kill the Dragon King was to do it with my bare hands. No other substitute for his death would suffice or put my mind at ease in believing he was truly dead. After smashing his face in, I snapped his neck, and ripped it off before crushing it in my hands to ensure no form of regeneration could happen if the head was left alone for the scavengers to feast on. With my personal mission done, I ran back to the Pyramid of Argus, knowing time was of the essence, and any of the warriors from either side could possibly take the power of the elder gods for themselves. Fortunately, by the time I got there, it wasn't the case, as my enemies and allies had all killed each other to reach the top, leaving only one other opponent aside from Blaze. Raiden himself. I would eventually defeat Blade in a well-earned fight before Raiden could even hope to stop me, and my power was enhanced by the end result to new levels. Raiden himself was no match for me despite being an elder god, as he had been fighting the others earlier, and was not even able to tap into his full power as the god of thunder due to being in the realm of Outworld. "Where are the elder gods, Raiden?" asked Shao Kahn, as he stood over Raiden's body, and laughed at the pathetic sight before him that was the defeated Thunder and Elder God of Earth Realm. Their pathetic mortal combat shackles me no longer, declared the Emperor after he picked up Raiden by the front of his armor before striking him several times in the face with his fists before throwing him across the top of the pyramid. They masquerade as dragons, but are mere toothless worms, mocked Shao Kahn, as he walked over to Raiden's downed form, his wrath hammer in hand, and saw the Thunder God turning over before stomping a massive foot down on him. My venom spreads. It is the end of all things. Armageddon! Exclaimed Shao Kahn, as his body was sudden covered in a golden fire, and bathing in its power. Stoop! Raiden yelled out, but all he got was a content sigh from the one standing over him. It is done, remarked Shao Kahn before picking Raiden up so the two could look the other square in the eyes. Your time has passed, said the Emperor before throwing Raiden back to where had first fallen near his broken amulet. I need to do something. Anything. But what? The Elder Gods aren't intervening. There is nothing left I can do to stop Shao Kahn except perhaps, thought Raiden, as he noticed the broken amulet on the ground, and reached for the majority of them. Ages wasted in foolish resistance. Now is the dawn of my rule, declared Shao Kahn, as he walked toward Raiden, who picked up the amulet pieces, and began chanting in an unknown language. It made Shao Kahn laugh. Yes. Pray to the worms, Raiden. As your world ends, declared Shao Kahn just before Raiden finishes his chanting and brings his wrath hammer up to bring down the killing blow with a war cry. He must win, whispered Raiden before seeing the wrath hammer come down on his head. In that moment, time along with the fate of all the realms had been changed forever, and so would that of Shao Kahn himself. I found myself jerked back by an invisible force and look around with sharp eyes at my surroundings. Was it a dream? Some kind of vision of the future? I see I am in my throne room in Outworld, my mind focusing on what just happened, and what was happening now. Was this some spell placed on me by a treacherous sorcerer? Was it the Elder Gods playing mind games? Did I just see myself standing on top of some strange pyramid in my own realm and defeating Raiden? That I caused Armageddon? I find myself shaking my head slightly, blocking the images from my head, and focusing on the task at hand. The conquering of Earth Realm. Shang Tsung had assured me that the needed 10th and final victory and needed to win this Mortal Kombat tournament and to take Earth Realm would soon be mine. All the warriors competing to defend that realm were weak, their morale broken from previous losses, and Guro himself was the reigning champion. At least according to his prized sorcerer overseeing the tournament. It wasn't until the old man I once taught the dark arts fell to his knees before me did I sense a certain foreboding. A foreboding that was eclipsed by my rage that was ready to be unleashed before I even sensed it was there, but that thought was ignored after what I heard next. Shang Tsung had failed to win the final tournament. You failed me. 500 years I have waited. Now I must wait 500 more. Roared Shao Kahn in anger, but in the back of his mind, he senses a form of deja vu. Like he had been in this same spot having this same conversation before and at another point in time. Shrugging it off, I narrowing my red smoldering eyes at the frightened sorcerer in front of me as he pleads his case regarding his failure, and I quickly silence him before issuing a command to Baraka to kill the fool. However, for all his pathetic excuses, Shang Tsung knew what to say, and how to say it in order to stay his execution. And thus, he convinced me to spare his wretched life in order to use him for another plan to take Earth Realm by having another Mortal Kombat tournament. While I grew sick of them after enduring 500 years of waiting for one victory after the next, Shang Tsung had convinced me one more couldn't hurt, and to hold it here in Outworld. That we would have a considerable advantage over Earthrealm's participating warriors and even Raiden himself. All that was needed was for Raiden to agree to the terms of this tournament. If he did, the Elder Gods would have no choice but to allow me the right to claim Earthrealm when my side won. However, I was also aware of what would happen should my side lose. A sense of foreboding arose in me again, and I had to ensure we did indeed win this time. So I commanded Shang Tsung to not only convince Raiden to have his warriors compete in this new tournament, but to have my sorcerer participate as well. Naturally, I could not have him compete as the frail old man, who lost to Earthrealm's newest champion, and risk another loss. So I gave Shang Tsung his youth back. His power was strengthened by my good graces, and I made him realize that failure was not an option for him in this assignment. Only now, the sense of foreboding didn't leave like I had hoped. It lingered, gnawing at me like some hungry rat nibbling the flesh off of a corpse in one of my dungeons. All I could do was ignore it, believing my forces would win in the end, and Raiden's followers would be crushed before I moved to take Earthrealm like I first desired. It was only later, when my Mortal Kombat tournament was held, did I find myself filled with rage at the continued incompetence of my forces, and their inability to win against Earthrealm's warriors. It seemed none could stand against them, as Scorpion to Shang Tsung, Quan Kai, and my new Shogun warrior Kentaro had failed to prove their worth in assuring my victory. And in my anger, I lashed out at Earthrealm's current victor Kung Lao, by snapping his neck and effectively killing him. In that moment, time slowed down. Raiden was about to attack me for killing the prideful boy without issuing the challenge of Mortal Kombat. I was prepared to fight the Thunder God, but due to my short-sightedness on my part, I failed to prepare for the attack coming from Kung Lao's fellow Shaolin warrior Louis Kong, who was the previous tournament winner, and the one responsible for Shang Tsung's failure. In the boy's rage, he used his ability to create fire, and formed it around his fist before driving the appendage straight through my chest. I found myself reliving a memory of another time, from another place, and another foe doing the exact same thing to me. More than once. Only the difference then and now was I was being hit by a fist filled with fire. Not lightning. I lay on the ground, dying from the injury. I see my forces rush after Raiden's warriors, all of whom had quickly fled back to their precious realm, victory now assured, and my ability to take Earthrealm now lost to me forever. Part of me, long forgotten, had screamed in rage at the injustice of it all, as my desires, and my ambition to getting my revenge were being taken away. And yet, not all was lost. Quan Kai had not chased after Raiden and his warriors like my forces had after my fall. He used his powers to heal me and save my life before it was too late. When I appeared before my generals, I overheard them talking about who would be the one to take over as ruler of Outworld. Melina was nominated instantly, as I had already decreed her my true heir, and daughter after Katana had brought Shang Tsung to me earlier regarding the project. The look of hurt in her eyes when I told the woman the truth brought about an ache in my heart at the time, but I crushed it, knowing sooner or later, Katana would have betrayed me. Now his former daughter was in Earthrealm with Raiden's warriors, no doubt celebrating their victory over me, and no doubt celebrating my supposed demise. Not to mention the newfound knowledge that Earthrealm is safe from any Outworld invasion on my part. But I am not so easily vanquished. Quan Kai soon proposed to me that I should simply invade Earthrealm and to take what was mine from the start. I was angered by the sorcerer's words, as he knew perfectly well that I couldn't cross over personally into Earthrealm like I wanted to from the start. When my queen Sindel killed herself, she had created a powerful magic ward to deny me that right, and thus prevented my body from entering the realm. The only way I could cancel out such a powerful magic out until now would be to win 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments to absorb Earthrealm into a part of Outworld. But like Shang Tsung at times, Quan Kai can be very persuasive in his arguments when he has to be regarding the rules of set forth by the Elder Gods. Not surprising when one of them was in the service of a former Elder God and knew all the rules by heart. The sorcerer in question had figured out a way to get around such a power, as he could bring Sindel back to life using his sorcery, and cancel out the magic ward created from her death. Not only that, but he could bring Sindel under my control, and influence so I would have a queen by my side worthy of me. No more betrayals. No more would I be denied a woman of strength, beauty, and skill befitting an emperor like myself. For a moment, I picture the image of a girl full grown into a woman similar to Sindel with long dark hair, lavender eyes, and a deadly skills in hand-to-hand fighting before banishing the image away. That person was dead for over 1,000 years, no doubt she had moved on, and had her own line of children who had their own, and repeated it for quite some time. If she did have any descendants, I would spare them my wrath, or at the very least give them the chance to serve me when I found my birth realm. I am weary of sorcerers, Quan Kai. Prove your worth. Bring her to me, commanded a still angry Shao Kahn, as he saw the sorcerer humbly bow, and leave with his shadowy bodyguard for where Sindel's body was located. It wasn't long before Quan Kai brought my queen before me and the woman looked into my eyes with adoration like the sorcerer promised. She looked at me with love. She soon kissed me and I returned it with a passion. Sindel was mine again once more. And so was my chance to take Earth Realm. I called for my forces to prepare for battle. I was going to do what I should have done from the start and taken Earth Realm by force whether the Elder Gods approved or not. Once more, a sense of foreboding gnawed at my mind, but I ignored it completely, as my desire to take my queen in our bed, and conquer Earth Realm burned within my body. I was tired of showing restraint. Tired of playing it safe. Being cautious of what the Elder Gods would do should I violate the rules of mortal combat. Rules were made to be broken. However, my soon-to-be victory would come at a price. My army, while vicious and many in number, were being repelled back by Raiden along with the Thunder God's forces. The Black Dragon clan leader Kano provided my forces with modernized weapons to help fight Earthrealm's own soldiers. But the weapons provided were in short supply and mine were not fully trained in what the mercenary provided for their use. I needed to make sure my authority over Earthrealm was absolute in the eyes of my future subjects, as I ordered Quan Kai to take prisoners in order to prepare a Solnado to draw strength from the souls upon entering the realm. Unfortunately, while Quan Kai was successful, he failed to keep it open, and was soon lost thanks to one of Raiden's warriors. Before that, my newest general Motaro, who had taken over for the Shogun, was slain by Raiden during one of his hunts for any potential threats, and my patience was growing increasingly thin. Raiden's forces were holding their own, my losses were increasing, and it was only a matter of time before I was forced back before my own arrival. It was then my queen offered to hunt down these pests and eliminate them for good so I would not be opposed when I crossed into the realm. I agreed, but I wasn't about to send Sindel to Earth Realm just to have her be killed by the combined might of the opposition. The Edenian queen needed to be stronger, more powerful, and more deadlier than ever before if this fierce warrior woman was going to fight her own daughter. And for that to happen, I needed Shang Tsung's help. Or rather, I needed the ever-large collection of souls residing within his body, at the expense of his life. He would not be missed. With my beloved queen now hunting down the Earth Realm warriors, I was preparing for the event of entering Earth Realm itself, and taking what was mine. No longer would I be afraid of the Elder Gods or the consequences I would possibly face upon breaking their rules regarding the merging of the realms without the means of mortal combat. I was Shao Kahn, conqueror of realms. It was high time I remind those around me of that important fact. However, when I exited the portal to Earth Realm, nothing could have surprised me more than to see Raiden bow in submission. One of his prized warriors, Louis Kong, was on the ground nearby, and covered in burns that looked like one would receive from being hit by lightning. Two of his warriors disobeyed the Thunder God and charged me, but I batted them away with a fraction of my power. A shame really. The blonde-haired woman had a nice figure for an Earth Realm warrior. I thought of turning her into a concubine or slave girl temporarily came to the forefront of my mind, but that left when I saw Raiden stand before me. Only to bow in submission. Ah, Raiden, you have come to your senses, said Shao Kahn with a hint of surprise in his voice. Earthrealm's citizens suffer. Further resistance serves no purpose, replied Raiden in a humble tone while the Emperor laughed. All these ages you have fought me. You denied me my rightful claim. Not this time, said Shao Kahn before standing in front of Raiden and hit the Thunder God with a mighty uppercut that sent him flying back. It was here, reality began to distort itself from events from another time. The elder gods fear me, now, declared Shao Kahn before laughing and lifting Raiden up by the front of his clothes. Their pathetic mortal combat shackles me no longer, declared the Emperor after he picked up Raiden and began striking him several times in the face with his fists before throwing him across the rooftop. His badly cracked amulet falling off of him and shattering into many pieces. They masquerade as dragons, but are mere toothless worms, said Shao Kahn mockingly while he walked towards Raiden, wrath hammer in hand, and standing over the Thunder God before putting his massive foot down. You can feel it, closing in around you. It is the end of all things, boasted Shao Kahn while seeing this realm being taken over piece by piece. Elder gods, where are you? Why do you forsake me? Asked Raiden while looking at the heavens above and awaiting for some kind of miracle by the elder gods. Your time has passed, said Shao Kahn after picking Raiden up again and throwing him across the roof. I don't understand. I've done what needs to be done and yet, what am I missing? Thought Raiden while struggling to stand. Ages wasted in foolish resistance. I have won, declared Shao Kahn before he stood in front of Raiden's kneeling form. Yes, you have won, admitted Raiden, as he finally conceded defeat fully, and awaiting for the killing strike once more like what happened to his future self. Now, Raiden, your world ends, declared Shao Kahn with a grin on his face, and he now brought his wrath hammer up to deliver the killing blow while letting out a war cry. Only for golden lightning to shoot down from the sky, getting the Emperor of Outworld's attention, and the elder gods appeared around Raiden. They entered his body and healed him of his injuries before addressing the warlord through the Thunder God's body. You violate our will, Shao Kahn. You merge realms without victory in mortal combat. Our penalty is clear, declared the combined voices of the elder gods through Raiden before they got golden lightning at the Emperor. Only to see it doing absolutely nothing except making Shao Kahn laugh. An anemic effort from ineffectual deities. Today, I become the elder god, declared Shao Kahn, as he was not harmed in the slightest by the attack, and saw his opponent was now going to fight him for the right to this realm. He wouldn't have it any other way. The battle was brutal. One I had not experienced in years. In ages actually. My time sitting on the throne had done little to improve my position of my own power growing. The last time I faced such a powerful foe was when I ambushed my weakened predecessor Onaga, the Dragon King. But this was different. Onaga was poisoned, caught off guard, and did not see the hit coming. I was currently fighting a Thunder God, who was now empowered with the strength of the elder gods themselves, and they weren't holding back on me in the slightest. The gnawing feeling in the back of my mind began to return in force. I realized there was a chance I could lose here, but my pride wouldn't let me stop, wouldn't let me leave, and wouldn't be denied the right to this realm. I wanted it. I needed it. I fought wildly against Raiden, but he kept on dodging, moving with his element, and pushing me back until it was too much. At another point in time, at any another place, I would have won this fight, and the realms would have been mine. But in my already weakened state, I was unable to achieve my victory over Raiden, and the elder gods like I had first hoped. When the time was right, they finally made their move, leaving Raiden's body, and quickly surrounding mine before taking me away into the sky to face their divine punishment. I had lost. I had failed. I, Shao Kahn, conqueror of realms and emperor to the realm of Outworld, had been defeated. Which was why I find myself currently on my knees, bound in ethereal golden chains, all attached to the floor, and at this time surrounded on all sides within the center of Hall of the Elder Gods. Each of them has a face of anger surrounding their visages while glaring at my bound body. My eyes are closed, I'm too weak to even consider opening them, and I can feel my head is no longer covered by my helmet. I am exposed to them. All that I am is seen by the elder gods, and it's clear they don't like it. Not surprising. To them, I was a demonic entity forged through the magic powers from Onaga, and the shadow priests. I was a vile thing that deserved to be thrown into the deepest, darkest regions of the Netherrealm and have the demons down there rip me to pieces. This is an insult. This creature has violated our decree. For too long Shao Kahn has used every possible way to get around our laws. It is clear he must be made an example of to ensure no one else makes similar attempts, decreed one elder god loudly in the room. Many of them were nodding in agreement, but few said nothing while looking at me with their piercing gaze. I knew they were looking at me because I could sense it. As they did, I thought back upon my past, what led me to this moment, the reason why I done what I did, and why I first became what I did. My vow, my promise, and the principle behind my belief in keeping my promises. I must get free. I must get my revenge, thought Shao Kahn as he clenched his hands into fists while hearing the elder gods arguing on how he should be punished. It has been decided. The only punishment befitting Shao Kahn's crimes against us in the realms is death, bellowed another elder god at last. Some things never change, whispered Shao Kahn before letting out a chuckle. What? If you have something to say, Shao Kahn, then say it, commanded another elder god, a female voice from the sound of it. You act like you are eyes all-seeing, that you are all-knowing. But you are nothing of the sort. If you were, then you would know of our long-lost history, and that it is because of you that I was able to alive this long, remarked Shao Kahn while the elder gods now narrowed their eyes at him. What do you mean, Shao Kahn? Speak, commanded another elder god who had a deep male voice and was clearly not amused. Look through my mind, elder gods. I know you can. Look at what I was before I came into the service of Onaga. Why I have done all that I have done. And, the reason why I will not let you destroy me so easily, replied Shao Kahn with his eyes snapping open and determination was now showing through his crimson-red eyes. The elder gods looked at each other, clearly unsure if not curious about his words, and decided to investigate if what Shao Kahn said was in fact true. So they looked into his mind, going deep into the man's memories to the point where he was born, and began their journey to understanding him. They saw into the man's birth, the reason for them being summoned to help Minato seal the Kyuubi into the child, and what soon followed the sealing itself. The elder gods slowly became angry from what they saw, as they saw the abuse the innocent boy endured, how the boy struggled every day just to live, and even then there were quite a few close calls. They saw the shame of a test at a shinobi academy. The betrayal of one of the academy instructors in a quest for power. Another academy instructor secretly hating the abused child and for something he didn't even know about. The truth of why he was hated being revealed to the boy. The farce of a genin team he had been put on with an even more pathetic instructor who also hated the boy. The training the team went through with the hated child getting little to no help at all in the field while those around him got so much more and used him as a training dummy before rubbing it in his face. They saw the battle on the bridge in Wave Country and the events that followed. The Chunin exams from start to finish. The invasion of the Leaf Village. The supposed death of the Sandame. Dealing with 2 members of the Akatsuki. Bringing back Senju Tsunade to Konoha and nearly dying. Being saved by the woman he was looking to bring back if only to be used as a weapon later on by her and those under her future command. And then they got to the point in the memories where Uchiha Sasuke tried to desert the village for the power Orochimaru was offering. How the blonde fought him in a fight worthy of Mortal Kombat. How the blonde blue-eyed boy, who was considering to be the weakest shinobi of his generation, had succeeded through sheer determination alone against the strongest. The blonde endured lethal blow after lethal blow that would have killed anyone else, taking those hits and still coming back for more because that was the mission. And when the mission was over, when the blonde brought the Uchiha back, it was then the elder gods found their rage reach its zenith. The blonde boy was betrayed by those he trusted. His godparents. The Sandaime Hokage who did not die like everyone first assumed. They saw how the boy had the truth revealed about how he was to be used by the village until his purpose came to an end, and would die. That the village's government official had feared his potential, his power, and what he would do with it if the truth was revealed. And set him up to die publicly at the hands of his own father. A man who violated the pact in the first place with the elder gods and conspired with others around him to take control of a prophecy foretelling the revolution or destruction of the shinobi way. How everyone close to the Yondaime Hokage believed him to be the child of prophecy, and he had the power to change the world with Konoha being on top ruling it. It infuriated the elder gods when seeing this disturbing truth brought to light. How dare these mere mortals try and influence a prophecy for their own benefit? These mortals of this realm believed this Yondaime Hokage was the child of prophecy, was no more the chosen one than the Sannin who trained him. In fact, the child of prophecy, the Sannin mentioned was actually the blonde-haired blue-eyed boy they were about to kill. It was when the boy they had learned was named Naruto was about to be executed by his father did the elder gods heard the boy's call, and making them remember what they did over 1,000 years ago. Elder gods, hear me. The contract you made with the mortal to seal up the Kyuubi inside me on the grounds of noble intentions has been violated. I call upon you now to honor your part of the contract to use your power to save this vessel from a death he does not deserve. The elder god saw the boy's body being burned, torn to shreds while being sucked into the portal meant to save him, and ultimately landing in Outworld before being dragged in front of Onaga, the Dragon King himself. They saw how the Dragon King was about to kill the boy, but stayed his hand, and decided to change the child into his loyal warrior. A warrior he named Shao Kahn, a warrior who made a promise, and vowed to keep that promise no matter what. Even if he had to conquer every realm in existence. And the rest, as they say, was history. This is unprecedented, remarked one elder god solemnly while staring into the eyes of Shao Kahn. Now you see the truth. Now you see why I do what I do. Why I have done all that I have done. I will not be cheated out of my revenge. Not by Raiden. Not by Quan Kai, Shinnok, or even you the elder gods. I made a promise long ago to crush those in that realm and I will keep it, one way or another. Replied Shao Kahn before he slowly began to stand. This has changed things, stated the female-sounding elder god. In what way? He violated the rules. Shao Kahn must be punished. Nothing exempts him from it even if his purpose is required to fulfill a prophecy. Said another elder god in anger. If anyone is to blame for Shao Kahn's actions thus far, then the blame should be placed ultimately on all of us. Due to our lack of action in not being more careful where we sent the boy when called to help him, he ended up as a servant of the Dragon King. Not only that, but the mortals of the Chakra realm have become far too bold, believing they can do whatever they want without consequences. We also never did intervene when Uzumaki Naruto was being tortured by his own village in the Chakra realm while he was growing up. If we had, things would have been different. Onaga would have never turned the boy into what he is now, replied the female elder god while Shao Kahn saw the others nodding in agreement. Shao Kahn must still be punished. There is no denying that fact. However, given the circumstances being partially, if not entirely our fault for making his rebirth under Onaga's rule happen, I think it's only fair Shao Kahn does something that will benefit us all, said a third elder god in a sagely tone. In what way? Asked Shao Kahn curiously. As it stands, you Shao Kahn have violated our rules, killed countless warriors, and conquered countless worlds in your pursuit of the one realm you were born from. The one realm you wish to return to in order to destroy those that betrayed your trust and those that follow them. While we do not denounce you for your actions, we cannot approve of them either, and thus we must find a balance where all parties benefit, said the elderly-sounding elder god. To that end, we believe that the best way to achieve justice for all sides is to ensure you fulfill your original purpose as the child of prophecy, and send you back to the Chakra realm. Your former home is on the brink of setting off Armageddon and they don't even know it because they are blind to their own greed. Even should we enter that realm, it puts us at risk of being sealed away, or someone there making a contract with us for some form of power. We tend to leave the chakra realm alone unless we have a necessary reason to interfere, said the female-sounding elder god, having seen that realm's future. However, to ensure you are properly punished for your past crimes, we hereby ban you from leaving the chakra realm unless we require your assistance, or should your realm need to be defended by participating in a Mortal Kombat tournament, said the angry-sounding elder god. Even if I agree to the terms, the betrayal happened well over a millennia ago. Everyone I know from that time are all dead, remarked Shao Kahn with frustration and anger in his voice. Actually, they are not dead. We have long since known about the potential behind the chakra realm soon after the Sage of Sixth Paths taught the world how to use chakra. To counter the developmental process of this realm from becoming too unstable or out of control, we used our power to slow time down considerably. A little over a millennia outside of the chakra realm is equal to 6 years within it, replied the female elder god to the shock of Shao Kahn. So they are alive. All of them, remarked Shao Kahn offhandedly while his mind began to process exactly what that meant. This meant his allies he had gained outside of Konoha. The various places that would no doubt welcome him with open arms once they heard of his return. He could build up an army, gather resources, form a new empire, and when the time was right, crush the leaf along with the very country that funds it. Konoha wanted to start an all-out war to bring about its superiority. Shao Kahn was more than happy to grant them a war, but not the one they would want, and not one they would win. Oh no. Shao Kahn planned to bring upon them a war that will haunt the people of the Leaf to the end of their days and long after their wretched diseased souls were sent to the lowest parts of the Netherrealm to suffer for their crimes. That would also mean, was she even alive? He needed to know. He must know. Do you accept the terms we have set for you, Shao Kahn? Or would you prefer we call you Uzumaki Naruto now? Asked one of the elder gods, who had yet to speak to him. I am Shao Kahn. Uzumaki Naruto's soul may reside within, but as far as the body that represented that weak boy is concerned, it no longer exists. As to your terms regarding my punishment, I accept, answered the former emperor of Outworld before the ethereal chain that held him broke. We will open a portal to a place in the realm near a place you are familiar with and are on friendly terms, replied the female elder god. Good. I will need time to recover my strength from the battle I had with all of you back in Earth Realm. There is also the issue regarding my former father holding the other half of the Biju's chakra. He should not have it within his body, replied Shao Kahn with the elder gods nodding in agreement. Agreed. It must be removed, said one elder god in a firm tone. Bring him here. I'll rip it out of him myself. It does belong me after all, said Shao Kahn with a grin on his face. Very well, said another elder god before they called upon their power and opened a portal that soon spat out a stunned Namikaze Minato. Ouch. What happened? One moment, I'm on the field of battle fighting Iwa Shinobi, and the next I'm here. Where the hell am I? Asked Minato before he found himself bound in golden chains that held the man in place. You are in the Hall of the Elder Gods, one Namikaze Minato. Do you know why you would be summoned to face us? Said a female elder god with Minato struggling to get free, but was shocked with golden lightning from the chains. I don't know nor do I care. Do you not know who I am outside of my name? I was once the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. The Yellow Flash. I will not be bullied by so-called gods and deities for their sick amusement. Protested Minato while trying to draw on the fox's demonic chakra, but found it wasn't responding to him, and soon heard chuckling to his right. It's not fun being wrapped up in chains and hurt by those more powerful than you, is it, Namikaze Minato? Mocked Shao Kahn while walking over to the struggling man. And you would be who exactly? Asked Minato with a glare despite seeing this mountain of a man with an almost demonic-looking face standing in front of him before getting hawked to the point where his legs gave out. Come now Namikaze Minato, formerly the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. Surely you recognize your own son? Asked Shao Kahn while letting out a cruel chuckle when he saw Minato's eyes widen in shock and fear. No, it's not possible. Naruto is dead. We burned his body and saw it fade away into that portal. He was fatally injured. Even the Uzumaki bloodline limit couldn't have saved him for long, protested Minato in denial while Shao Kahn grabbed the man by the face and was staring him right in the eyes. I know it's hard to believe, father. Who would believe me? Who would believe that I am your progeny? That I was once a skinny, malnourished, naive boy, who dreamed of one day being Hokage, and getting the respect I deserved. Oh yes, it has been quite some time since I was that frail little thing you called a son. A son you didn't want. A son you felt was not needed in your life. Also you could harness the power of your half of the fox's chakra sealed inside your gut to achieve more fame, power, and glory in the name of your precious Konoha, replied Shao Kahn before letting go of the shocked man on his knees. So you've come for revenge just like you promised us, concluded Minato while Naruto let out a chuckle. You think I'm going to kill you here? That ending your life in this place will satisfy my desire to crush you and everyone like you. Don't make me laugh, declared Shao Kahn with Minato looking confused. So, you're not going to kill me here? Asked Minato with Naruto smirking at him. No, I want you to return to Konoha. Let them know that Uzumaki Naruto is alive, well, and getting stronger. I want them and you to come at me with everything you've got, said Shao Kahn while flexing his right hand before forming a fist. You would be foolish to not kill me here. When I get free from these chains, I'm going to show you why I was made Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, said Minato while tensing his body and getting ready to use his powers to put down his son once and for all. Yes, about that. You know the Kyuubi's chakra. The one half you have inside of you? Asked Shao Kahn with Minato's eyes going wide. Yeah, what of it? Questioned Minato with a hint of fear in his voice before he let out a gasp, followed by a scream of pain, and looked down in shock. His son's massive hand was in his torso where the seal was located. I'm taking it back. It doesn't belong to you. It never did in the first place, replied Shao Kahn into the shinobi's ear before he drew the fox's chakra out from the man and relished hearing Minato screaming out in agony. When the process was over, Shao Kahn backed away from Minato, letting the power of the fox's other half wash over him, synchronizing with his power, which at one point was Kyuubi's first half before Onaga merging it with his body from the beginning. Now the two halves were whole again, healing Shao Kahn of his recent injuries, restoring his lost strength, and showing memories of the Yondaime Hokage's exploits during the man's 6, in Chakra Realm, years. Everything Namikaze Minato had ever done or was planning to do in the future was now known to Shao Kahn. You dumb bastard for a child. Don't you know what you've done? What I had to go through to learn how to use that power properly? What that half of Kyuubi sealed inside of me did for the people of Konoha? What I was able to do exactly with its power under my direct command? Demanded Minato while trying to get off the ground, but failed due to a large portion of his strength if not all of it had been drained by the tall man in front of him. You mean using the fox's chakra inside of you to reverse the aging process with the help of Senju Tsunade's skills in medical ninjutsu, replied Shao Kahn with Minato looking at him in surprise. How did you know? Asked Minato with Shao Kahn tapping the side of his head. Why, the memories from half of Kyuubi you sealed inside your body of course. Kyuubi was never the mindless beast you and everyone else saw him as Namikaze Minato. Not that it matters anymore since that power is now far out of your reach, replied Shao Kahn while he was enjoying the sight of Namikaze Minato glaring at him in rage before the man decided on addressing the elder gods. Don't you realize what he has done? I am the child of prophecy, damn it. Even gods must respect someone foretold in prophecies and ensure they happen, said Minato while the elder gods did not look amused. What you say is indeed true, former Yondaime Hokage. However, you are not the child of prophecy that was foretold would appear in your realm. But your son is, replied one of the elder gods to Minato's shock, horror, and fear before turning to face Shao Kahn, who was laughing hysterically at him. Do you hear that, my stupid father? I am the one the Toad Sage foretold about. Not you. Not Naruto. Me. And I already know how I want to proceed in dealing with the current way of the shinobi in the chakra realm, replied Shao Kahn with his grin never leaving him. No. No, you wouldn't, exclaimed Minato, as he figured out what Shao Kahn planned to do, and wasn't going to allow it. I can and I will. Your time has passed, old man. You along with every shinobi in Konoha and all of your allies will fall by my hands, replied Shao Kahn before a portal opened up several feet behind him and the chains holding Minato fell off the man. He can no longer stay here. Send him back to the chakra realm, commanded one of the elder gods, and Shao Kahn grinned further. Give my best regards to my mother and Naruto. I intend to see those two, along with Jiraiya, Hiruzen, Tsunade, Kakashi, and all the other power-hungry traitors of my former home very soon, added Shao Kahn before throwing Minato, who was now screaming in protest after being launched into the portal. It is time, said the female elder god, firm yet kind tone. Shao Kahn simply nodded, knowing he had to keep his end of the deal he made with the elder gods, and had every intention of doing it. It wasn't even a bad punishment for him actually. Sure, he was going to be confined to one realm, but that didn't matter, and there was always a chance the elder gods might need his help one day. Or maybe the chakra realm would have to fight off another ambitious realm by means of mortal combat and he could leave to participate in it. Either way, Shao Kahn had no intention of backing out of the deal, and fully intended to get his revenge on Konoha in the process. With that thought in mind, the former emperor of Outworld entered the portal, knowing it would take him to the realm he was born in, and would have to fight with all his being to win. Once the portal engulfed his body, it closed behind Shao Kahn, and in silence filled the hall of the elder gods. I take it you sent Shao Kahn somewhere with solid ground to walk on? Asked elder god Argus, as he appeared in his physical form in front of the other elder gods. Yes. I sent him to the first place to ever acknowledge his existence in life as a person. As Uzumaki Naruto. With any luck, the people there can bring the noble side of him out once more, replied the female elder god while Argus nodded his head. And you also saw what I did regarding Wave Country in the Chakra realm. How they are losing the war with Fire Country's forces after years of the two fighting within the political arena. Even now, I see the army of Konoha shinobi have slowly yet successfully oppressed the country's populace there, and they have finished renaming the bridge after the traitorous boy, Uchiha Sasuke. The one Naruto brought back, which resulted in his near execution, replied Argus, as he saw a lot of Shang Tsung and Quan Kai and Uchiha Sasuke with their love for betraying others are going back on their word. We must believe that the soul of Uzumaki Naruto will balance out the cruel entity that Onaga turned him into all those ages ago. It is still there. We have all seen it within his mind, said the female elder god. Agreed. Now if you will excuse me, I must head back to Outworld, and prepare for my sons to arrive, replied Argus, as he like the other elder gods had seen more than just the fragments of the future like Raiden did through his amulet, and needed to prepare for the war that was to come. Just because Armageddon was averted, didn't mean the sons of Elder God Argus wouldn't be causing their own brand of trouble. Chakra realm near Wave Country. The portal behind Shao Kahn closed behind him. Looking around, he recognized the path in front of him, and his location was near where his old team had walked to get to Wave Country. Feeling his instincts pulling him toward this place, Shao Kahn headed for the country that embraced him like he was family. However, a sudden realization made him stop, as he looked at himself, and realized that his appearance screamed hostile, and his face wasn't exactly the most friendliest one you can meet on a bright sunny day. He needed to hide his appearance, for now anyway. As luck would have it, bandits had made camp in the woods near him. Their boasting and loud voices drew him to them with curiosity along with the opportunity of possibly taking what these fools had for himself. A cloak perhaps to hide his visage. Maybe money they stole from a caravan. While Shao Kahn had no need for monetary wealth for himself, he did see the need for it in making certain infrastructures of various realms function, and knew it would be required here in this realm. You see the bounty we got here. That caravan from Fire Country was loaded with loot, boasted one bandit while drinking his sake. Yeah, it was supposed to be used to fund the war it's having with Wave Country. They've been having issues with each other politically, but now the Fire Daimyo is tired of talks in getting Wave annexed into its territory, replied another bandit with a smirk on his face. Not surprising. Wave Country is an island country, but has lots of resources ripe for the plucking. If Fire Country takes Wave, they'll increase their treasury in wealth, and riches that are 5 times what we got here. At least, said the bandit leader while showing the large pile of wealth in their possession. How are we going to transport all this loot? There are only so many us and the bags will weigh us down, asked one bandit before he was smacked in the back of the head. Baka, we have these sealing scrolls. Did you forget that Mizuki here is a former Leaf Shinobi? Said the bandit leader while patting Mizuki on the back. Mizuki, here, thought Shao Kahn, as memories of the fool, the time at the academy, and then later when the Chunin tricked him into taking the forbidden scroll. Why did you leave? I mean, Konoha is stronger than ever. The Yondaime Hokage came back. So did his wife, their daughter, and a whole bunch of the village's powerhouses, said one bandit while Mizuki sneered. Because the Yondaime Hokage wouldn't promote me after I was released from jail. I was among the people who beat the demon brat up the most when it was younger, and I worked harder than anyone at the academy to ensure its growth was stunted. And how did the man reward me for my troubles after I was let out of jail? I get a pat on the back, a mere congratulations, and a small pay increase that doesn't even cover how much I had suffered while in prison. Not only that, but in the years following my release, I couldn't advance in rank. I was denied each time. When I finally demanded my promotion, plus years back pay for my past suffering, the fools in power threatened to throw me back in jail, answered Mizuki while Shao Kahn slowly narrowed his eyes in the shadows. Wow, years of loyal service and they wouldn't even promote you for it. That's cold, said one bandit in sympathy. They said I would be promoted when the time was right. The time was right when I got out of jail, exclaimed Mizuki furiously while shaking his fists in anger. Aside from that, there had to be something else. I can tell from the angry look in your eyes, said another bandit while Mizuki sighed. I also hit on Aruka's slutty-looking girlfriend, Mitarashi Anko. She was Orochimaru of the Sanin's first student he ever took on as an apprentice, replied Mizuki spitefully. Really? Wow, I've seen her picture in that bingo book of yours. She's hot, said the bandit leader with Mizuki smirking. Why do you think I hit on her? I tried to get between her legs, but all she wants is to be with Aruka. Bah, as if the man knows what to do with a slutty woman like that between the sheets. When she turned me down, I forced myself on her, but the bitch fought me off. Can you believe it? The dam refused me. She'll spread her legs for that twig for a man Aruka, but not me. I had to flee before the Hokage could throw my ass back in jail again, explained Mizuki before he along with the bandits heard a cruel laughter. It's been a long time, Mizuki. The years have not been kind to you, it seems. Especially if you are hanging around with pathetic band of bandits like this group, remarked Shao Kahn, as he came out of the shadows, and stared at the man who once tormented him as a child while growing up in the village. One of many tormentors he was going to enjoy killing. Who the hell are you? Demanded Mizuki while he along with everyone else within the bandit camp was standing and brought out their weapons. You don't recognize me. I don't have a familiar look to you. I know it's been many years, Mizuki, but even you should be able to look underneath the underneath, like all Konoha Shinobi Academy instructors tend to teach their students. Though if memory serves me well, you kicked me out of that class that day, and on the charge of tapping my pencil too fast on my desk, replied Shao Kahn with Mizuki's eyes narrowing in thought before they went wide with horror. No, you are, it can be you. It can't. They said you died, exclaimed Mizuki with Shao Kahn now grinning evilly. That's it, Mizuki. Look into my eyes. See past the crimson glow. Look deep within me and you will see the truth, replied Shao Kahn and let out a chuckle. Who is this guy, Mizuki? Demanded the bandit leader. It's the Kyuubi brat. It's Uzumaki Naruto, Mizuki practically shouted while Shao Kahn's grin increased. You are partially right, Mizuki. I was the Kyuubi brat. I was Uzumaki Naruto. Past tense. I go by the name Shao Kahn now, and as for Kyuubi, we've merged completely into one single entity, replied Shao Kahn while walking toward the stunned group of bandits. So you're a demon now, huh? I always knew you were deep down. Now your change just proves me and everyone in Konoha right. You are a freak. A monster, declared Mizuki in the hopes it would somehow break what he believed was the former Konoha shinobi's still fragile mind. All he got was a cruel laugh from Shao Kahn. You know, in another lifetime, I would have denied that statement. In another lifetime, I would have shouted out denials, spouted on about being Hokage one day regardless of what you, or anyone else thought. But after all I've been through since leaving Konoha and what I've done since my escape from the Leaf Village, I honestly can't deny your words. I am a demon now. I am a monster. And this monster, this demon that stands before you, it hungers for human souls. Just like yours, replied Shao Kahn with the bandits and Mizuki looking at him fearfully for a moment before the latter tried to rally the others. We can take him. I know the brat. He was a baka growing up and no doubt he is a baka now. We're fighting one monster and we are many. We can win, exclaimed Mizuki with the bandits looking like they had regained some courage and began to charge Shao Kahn. Fools. Compared to fighting Raiden and the Elder Gods together, this won't even be a challenge, thought Shao Kahn, as he summoned his wrath hammer to his hand in an instant, and charged the group of bandits. The bandits were instantly overwhelmed by the brutality of Shao Kahn's strength, power, and overall skills with the wrath hammer. Whoever he didn't hit with the weapon was sent flying back by a massive kick or punch to any bandit that was in his crosshairs. The bandits themselves were surprised, as they didn't expect someone of Shao Kahn's size to move so fast, or to dodge their attacks so easily. Everything Shao Kahn hit, he destroyed in a single blow, and sent many bandits flying back with a few of their limbs missing in the process. This is impossible. Uzumaki Naruto is a weak shrimp, who wears orange, eats ramen, and doesn't know a thing about the world around him. Not this monster from the pits of hell, thought Mizuki, as he saw the bandits being slaughtered, and decided to cut his losses by running. Only to find himself pinned to a tree by the shoot when he was hit by a spear made up of green energy. Crying out in pain, Mizuki tried to free himself from the tree, but couldn't remove it, and saw Shao Kahn had just slammed his foot right through the bandit leader's chest with a sickening crunch, echoing throughout the area. By this point, Mizuki had decided to actually look at Giant Man to see his overall appearance. Uzumaki Naruto, or Shao Kahn as he now called himself, was wearing a loin cloth, covered by some cloth in the front, while at the sides had almost reptilian-looking armor plating that went down to the hips. He had spiked shoulder pads, similarly designed knee pads and gauntlets, and a skull medallion embedded in two straps that intersect across his chest. Mizuki looked at the man's face and saw the former Kyuubi brat no longer had his recognizable blonde hair or blue eyes. He was in fact bald with a slightly demonic face featuring red eyes and small spikes protruding from his head that made Mizuki shiver in fear. It only increased when Shao Kahn walked slowly toward him with bloodlust clearly showing in his eyes. How does it feel, Mizuki? How does it feel to be on the receiving end of pain? How does it feel to be the weak sniveling worm wiggling around in pain at the hands of your enemy and receiving no mercy? Pain is no longer fun for you, is it, fool? You more than once beat Uzumaki Naruto within an inch of his life any chance you got. You laughed at his suffering. How does it feel to be the one being laughed at? Mocked Shao Kahn before grabbing Mizuki by the face and slammed his head back against the tree. Hard. In fact, it was hard enough to that the impact embedded Mizuki's head in deep within the tree trunk by several inches. What is he? Even for a demon, he shouldn't be this strong. The Yondaime himself told the village that the demon would never regain a fraction of its lost power so long as he lived, thought Mizuki while struggling with his free hand to grasp the massive wrist connected to the massive hand putting pressure on his head. You can feel it, can't you, Mizuki? Closing in around you. The inky darkness seeping in while life leaves your body. I have felt that many times in my life. Some of them by your hands. Other times by Konoha shinobi and civilians thinking they have a right to rip into my flesh with their weapons of choice. Now you will know, Mizuki. Now you will know what it means to suffer, as I have suffered, said Shao Kahn while Mizuki whimpered in fear while pleading with the former emperor of Outworld with his eyes. Mercy. Mercy. Pleaded Mizuki behind the giant hand while Shao Kahn's grin left his face and it turned into one of pure fury. Mercy. You dare ask me for mercy? How many times did Uzumaki Naruto beg for mercy when he was attacked? Huh, you and the other fools in Konoha laughed at him. Look at the demon begging for mercy. Look how the demon cries from the pain we are putting him through. Why should I show someone like you an ounce of mercy, knowing you wouldn't do the same in my place? Tell me, demanded Shao Kahn while Mizuki was panicking and sweating heavily. Because you want to rise above your enemies. Offered Mizuki while Shao Kahn's face once more sporting an evil grin. Rise above my enemies. Why rise above my enemies, when I can just crush them into the ground so I will always be above them? Asked Shao Kahn while Mizuki's fear had now increased 100-fold. The entire area was soon filled with screams, as Shao Kahn unleashed his fury, his rage, and built up aggression against one of the many targets the former emperor of Outworld planned on destroying in the years to come. When he finished hours later, Shao Kahn left the mangled corpse of a horrified-looking Mizuki for the animals to eat, and walked back to the heart of the bandits' camp. Looking around, the demonic man found himself a large brown cloak of sorts, and wrapped it around his body before sealing away the spoils of the bandits' thievery. With his father no doubt telling the rest of Konoha about his return and what he looked like, Shao Kahn knew his current attire would quickly turn the heads of the people around him before someone from Jiraiya's spy network informed the Toad Sannin of his location. So for now, he would simply be a large figure in a crowd. But first, Shao Kahn needed to head for Wave Country immediately. His true home in this realm needed to be defended.